Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Today, we're looking at the Veterans Land Board. And if I can get my computer to cooperate, there we go. Before we get started, this presentation is on the YouTube channel for the San Antonio Coalition of Veterans and Families. Our mission is the immediate assistance for homeless veterans. Please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. It means a great deal to us. Pleasure to have guest speaker today, Mr. Travis Willis. He's from the Veterans Land Board. The Land Board falls under the Texas General Land Office. Their key programs, uh, State Veterans Home. There's 10 facilities. The nearest one to us is, and I forgot where, Floresville. There we go.
Hmm.
Very nice facility. Um, Texas Veteran Cemeteries, there are currently 5. 2 new ones are planned, and some of the existing ones are expanding. Their key programs, land loans, home improvement loans. We'll hear more about that. And their contact info, and I'll leave that up. And of course, you can use the QR codes to go to the website. My comment on the website is I had no trouble navigating it. I found it very easy to use. I was fortunate enough to go to a live presentation about 10 days ago. We were talking about this, and I knew the services that were provided, but in hearing them, I was kind of amazed at the depth of services once I was listening to it live. So it's a very good program that the state does. And let me get off share, and without further ado, we'll get to our speaker. There we go. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about what you do in the organization you work for?
Yes, sir. And then first off, thank you for inviting me on. I know this is information that needs to get out. But what I do for the Texas Veterans Land Board, I'm the Central Texas Marketing and Outreach Coordinator. So basically, I go out and educate veterans, service members, anything you know, 'cause that touches veteran or service member. That is the audience that we want to get this information out to.
Absolutely. Now, you're a veteran.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, so there's connection. That's a little bit about the programs, if you would.
Uh,
Um,
so we
go,
have
go
like
ahead.
mentioned before, we have we're the only state that has a land loan program. If I really wanted to get into history, the Texas General Land Office, like you mentioned before, was established in 1836. 1836, Texas Revolution happened, and the at that point you had Texians and Tejanos that worked alongside one another to defend and for what they stood for. And at that point, that's pretty much the birth of the VLB when you think about it, because upon completion of that, this is when the initial land grants and all that was granted out to those that fought alongside each other at the Alamo. And then they created this position called land commissioner. So that is who we work for. The office, like mentioned before, falls under the Texas General Land Office, which is led by the land commissioner of the state of Texas, Commissioner Buckingham. Um, Commissioner also dual hats as the chairwoman of the Texas Veterans Land Board. And with all the programs that we cover land loans, home improvement loans. We have 10 long-term skilled nurse facilities and 5 cemeteries throughout the state. The fifth one is in Lubbock, is currently close to completion. I mean, plumbing issues, so we have to get through that. But
Sure.
once that's complete, there will be a press release explaining when this place is going to open. And then the sixth one potentially will be out in the East Texas area. And lastly, we do offer an oral history program also. So for veterans that want to share their story and be a part of Texas Archives, that'll be another great opportunity to preserve your stories.
Wonderful. I think sometimes there's a misunderstanding because it's so unique. There's actually a loan for raw land. Am I
That's
getting
correct.
that right?
That's correct.
Uh,
So we have I like to look at it this way: veteran service member, eligible Gold Star member. well, eligible spouse, if if you find land here in Texas that meets our criteria, the criteria is being an acre or bigger, zone non-commercial, fully located here in the state of Texas, has access to an easement, and your property can be in a floodplain as long as 1 acre of it is free and clear of that floodplain, then you can finance up to $200,000 as an individual veteran. Um, Now, it's three different avenues you can purchase land. You can go, find it on your own, or you can participate in one of our quarterly land auctions or our public sale. So it's three avenues, but the majority of our land sales go to those that found it on their own. Um, Here's another great point about that land loan. uh, you don't have to build anything on that land. We have no building requirement. Um, we only require you to put 5% down, and that's based off of your debt to income ratio and your credit. We look at your DTI, debt to income ratio, a lot more heavily than your credit score. You can have as low as a 530, and as long as you're in good standing, you don't owe any back taxes, any back child support, anything like that, then you can get that $200,000 loan, up to $200,000 loan, 5% down, 30-year term. There are no prepayment penalties, so you can pay it off as early as you like. But we basically don't care what you do with that land once you purchase it. Um, and there is a dual serving spouse land loan amount as well. That amount is $275,000. So if you're dual serving spouses, both served in the military or serving in the military, then you can finance that $275,000. Same benefit.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes,
Another
sir.
unique program that you have is the home renovation,
Yes.
which oh,
Wait, sir.
I think people are shocked when the VA doesn't do things like that. They have certain grants. I don't want to underplay as a long-term VA employee, but this is something that's kind of unique, even to other states. So, if you would, a word about that.
I will. And I like your point. We're not the Department of Veteran Affairs. A lot of people think that we are, but we're an exclusively state benefit. The program was created through an act of legislature in 1946. That's when it was actually created for the state of Texas, for Texas veterans. Um, and I do need to talk about qualification also, but with the home improvement loan. Home improvement loan is you can finance up to $50,000 to do improvements on your primary residence. You can do projects such as a deck. You can do solar panels. You can do a jacuzzi in your bathroom. I saw something listed that's called a jaluzi, which I have no clue what that is, but you can get one of those. There's even an incinerator on there. I don't know for what reason you would need that, but you can also get an incinerator. So there's a lot of things that you can do
Sure.
with that home improvement loan. But I like your point. The VA, the federal side, does have free money out there. We want to point you to that free money that you don't have to pay back, but that's not a program that we provide. That HISA grant, that SHA grant, those projects or those that type of benefit, you would have to qualify for it through the VBA. And if you do qualify for it, great. But it is from what I'm told, extremely difficult to be able to get that. You need conditions like loss of limb and certain things,
Yes.
and most veterans don't have that. But if we're talking about ADA compliance, we do have an avenue that not just those that need ADA compliance, but any veteran or any service member that want to do those alterations to their home roofing, siding, painting, electrical work, backsplashes in your kitchen. There's a host of things you can do, and very minimal things we don't allow, like landscaping, pools. Um, Now, if you don't own your home outright, you can only finance up to 25K, but this loan is a 2 to 20 year term. So uh, s- we do originate that loan in house, just like the land loan. We originate that loan in house, so we have uh, the maximum control and latitude to help that veteran out as best we can.
Okay,
Those,
we're gonna
yeah,
pause here. Hang on, because I have the obvious someone knocking at my door. Actually, keep on going,
okay,
and I'm gonna step away for a second, get my door,
okay,
because anything that can happen will happen.
okay,
So keep on going.
okay. Um, well, there are a few other things that you can do. So if you decide you wanted to, um, you can pick your own contractor. You just can't do your own work. And that's the great thing about it, because you have the latitude to figure out who you want to work with. We only need a quote from the contractor that you choose, but you get to pick your own contractor. It could be a relative as long as it's not you doing the actual work on that property.
Wonderful. Um, I think veterans are usually aware of national cemeteries, but the concept of state cemeteries might be something that's new to them. Um,
Yes.
and Texas is a big state, so it's hard to have national cemeteries that cover the entire state, what, whatever. So, if you would, a word about the Texas state cemeteries.
And why do we have them? Well, the VA or the National Cemetery Administration, they have a criteria where uh, you can't have a state cemetery within 75 miles of the national cemetery. Seeing that Texas is about 171 million acres big, that's a huge demand signal, which Dr. Kelly and Chief John Galt, Doug Galt, they're working with the VA to fill in those gaps. They have a very good strategic plan to help fill in those gaps, including the one that we talked about in East Texas. Now, what I will say is that um, the only way we can start even trying to build into those spaces is we have to have land donated because we can't purchase it. Second step is we would have to apply for a grant from the VA because the VA, they're our friends, right? We're not the
Right.
VA, but we do leverage a lot of resources from them for both our veterans homes and our state cemeteries. Now, once we get that grant and we're able to start the initial construction with the VA from that grant, then the VLB takes it over at the state level. And then a great thing that we do out in Killeen is the city of Killeen actually manages that cemetery and manages the perpetual care of it as well. I think it used to be contracted out, but uh, the team, the cemetery's leadership, and the VLB leadership made that decision to partner with the surrounding communities, and it's been a great thing out in Killeen, and I know that they're doing the same in at the rest also.
The something that kind of is in the mindset, but not talked about much, is the state veterans homes.
Hmm.
Now, in my VA life, I got to visit a number of them to see clients. I was surprised, one, how nice and how up to
They are.
date. And I, I mentioned in the intro that Floresville is near us. So
Yes.
if you would, a word, because it's an option that sometimes people don't think of.
Okay. So I know I didn't mention criteria yet, but there is a criteria that we have where you have to live in Texas for at least 1 day to qualify for this program. However, with our state veterans cemeteries, there is no requirement for you to have lived in Texas. So if you know, let's say you have a relative in Illinois somewhere, and they have a long-term skilled care need, as well as Texas, you be in Texas. This is the criteria. You have to have a long-term. You have to have a need of care for two of your ADLs, minimum activities of daily living, and then uh, you need a DD form 214. That's basically it. Now, with these homes, we have 10 throughout the state. You can apply to them simultaneously. We have memory care
Mm,
units. So if someone has dementia, Alzheimer's, any need for that type of care, we have about 30, roughly about 30 beds per facility to facilitate that type care. Our homes average about 120 beds for the regular population. So that's another great thing. Floresville, I think their rates around 160 something dollars a day. The VA does pay $100 per diem there. So if the veteran does not have a service connected disability of 30%, of 70% or greater, then they will be required to pay that room rate. But that is the great thing about it. Once you're at 70% service connection, you have a free stay, and that is rated at the semi-private room rate. So if someone wants to live in that home in a private room and meet that criteria, then they can apply for a private room and pay the difference. But
yeah.
we don't take their assets, we don't take their money. They keep all their money, and the only exception is if they're not at 70%, they will have to fund their stay through their finances. But we have Texas Veterans Commission. going to all of those homes periodically to help veterans either start a claim or, uh, maintain their claims, file for increases, whatever it may be. And if they get an increase or if they get awarded disability, then we're going to back pay them from the date of their claim, and that's a check coming from the VLB.
Wonderful. Okay. Um, what else are we forgetting? That's a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is quite a bit. We have, like you said, pretty extensive programs, but I will talk about the criteria. So the way you qualify to participate with the VLB is being active duty for at least 90 days, not dishonorably discharged, and being a bona fide resident here in the state of Texas for at least 1 day. The way you prove your residency is through one of four ways. One, you can have a Texas driver's license, you can have a utility bill, you can have your transfer orders bringing you to to Texas, and then wow, it's always the fourth one I forget. There's another one, and it's dancing around, and I guess I'll find it here in a second. But one of four ways that you could oh, a letter from a relative. So if you have a relative that lives here in Texas, saying they're saying you're living in the closet, no, not the closet, you got a bedroom in there, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll write that letter, say you're there, and then you can apply, starting with one of those four ways of proving your residency. You could be a reservist with 20 qualifying years towards retirement, or those 90 days on active duty that helps you out. And then surviving spouses also qualify for this program.
Hmm.
With the state veterans homes, the spouse can stay in the home, but they would have to pay the semi-private room rate regardless of the veteran's disability status. But they can stay in that home also. And then Gold Star members, Gold Star parents can also stay in those homes. Um,
So,
with the cemeteries, uh, the benefit there is you can pre-register as soon as today, if you wanted to pre-register. We take care of everything from the gate forward, and it's completely free of charge. We take care of the burial, the military honors, all free of charge.
okay, interesting. And I didn't realize, I knew about pre-registering at the National Cemetery, but I didn't realize at the state level, which only makes sense.
Hmm.
Wonderful. I'm
Yes, sir.
glad you brought that point out.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then the
Um,
auctions. Yeah, we didn't talk auctions, but that's out there also for those that want to go that avenue.
what what's the easiest way to reach your organization?
I would say the website provided, info. That's our email box, regardless of where we are in the state, because there are several other representatives throughout the state. If you happen to be in, let's say, El Paso or Lubbock, listening to this information, then you could send an email and we'll get it rerouted to our different regions where we actually cover information or cover for the VLB.
All right. Super. What else? Have we forgotten anything?
Um, I can talk a little bit about the auctions. The auctions occur quarterly. So if you decide that you want to participate in that, is all online. You can bid online. You don't know who you're bidding against. If you happen to get the highest bid, then we'll contact you and you can accept that offer. You can walk away and it goes to the next highest bidder if you don't want it. Um, but everything is conducted online. It's a blind bid. We have 3 tracts of land that's out for auction right now. And the way we acquire that land is through forfeiture. So if someone's not paying their bills,
Sure.
or maybe passed away, whatever happened, then that land will come back to the VLB for that quarterly land auction for veterans only. And then upon completion of that auction, we'll transition over to the public sale. So if it didn't sell at the veterans only sale, then it'll go into the public sale where veterans and non-veterans can purchase that land. They can also apply for financing. So if there's a non-veteran that wants to have some land, they can go on our website into the public sale and apply for VLB financing. And the only difference is their interest rate.
Okay.
The veterans interest rate is 7.25%. The non-veterans interest rate is 8.25%. And that's how we help out. Um, Interest rates for the home and the home improvement loans, they change once a week every Friday at 5 p.m. So that I think that's a good one. And then if you're a veteran with service connection of 30% or greater, you'll qualify for an additional half one off that interest rate.
Okay. No small
Hmm.
things in our current state
Yes.
of finances. So
Yes.
super.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, the oral history program, I think that's a great one too, sir. Um, so You don't mind me asking, what did you do in service?
I did 3 years in the Army and 5 years in the Air Force.
That's
Nothing
right.
exciting, typical, but yeah, I didn't realize you had an oral history program. If a
Yes,
person
sir.
like me was interested, is it all done online? Something you come in for? How do how do you arrange it?
Yes, sir. It'll be really your option. We can conduct the interview over the phone, Zoom, like we're talking right now, or in any means. We prefer to drive out in person because we do have a video component we like
Of
to
course.
add in there. We're actually hiring for a multimedia specialist position right now, so they'll be helping out with that effort also. Um, but the way it works, the coordinator can travel out to you, record your story. Upon completion, we can send you a thumb drive with your story on it. And then we'll send you a coin and a certificate signed by the land commissioner, Commissioner Buckingham. And that story, upon once you finish it, you can it'll be a part of Texas Archives forever. So go ahead, sir.
If- I should tell you this after we're done filming. If you'll email me something on that, I'll include it in the SAC, uh, the coalition's newsletter, and I do another newsletter, and I'd be happy. What a nice program.
Yes, sir. It is. Yes, sir.
So yeah, if you follow up with me, I'll make sure more people know.
I will.
Well, thank you. I think we've come to the end. I, I thought I heard a lot 10 days ago. I heard even
Yeah.
more today.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. What a wonderful program. We're very fortunate in Texas.
Yes, sir.
Now, at this point,